All right, second time recording this. Mic was muted the first time. You see, I've got Voxengo SPAN loaded in the mix bus in mid-side mode. The mid image being the dark green field, the side image being the light green field. Here I've got Airwindows ToVinyl4 bypassed. In between them, you can see the two bass parts in this song. Yeah, I've gone big bottom on this song. And I'm just going to hit play with the volume, master volume all the way down. And you'll note that down here in the subs, especially the side image is threatening to overtake the mid image, which obviously we don't want. And then when the second bass part comes in, it actually does right there. That salmon pink is where the side image is overtaking the mid image. Now it's far enough down there that it's probably not going to, and it's low enough in amplitude that it's not a huge deal. I'd be much more concerned if I was seeing that salmon pink color extending up into the low mids, but something that I want to control. Normally I accomplish this with a side image high pass in Mastering 2, Airwindows Mastering 2. But it can also be accomplished with ToVinyl4. ToVinyl4, as you can see, has 4 knobs. And, well, let me show you the defaults. These are the defaults. You've got your mid-high pass at... Is that the default? No. You got your mid-high pass at 22, your side-high pass at 44. There's an acceleration limiter for treble control. And then there's GvWear, which is really interesting. This is so Airwindows. This is so Chris. Let's read about GvWear. This one analyzes the virtual groove and then sets up an imaginary stylus going down that groove and gives it a tiny bit of inertia. It's more slew mojo and not tied to any particular frequency. It doesn't even know what a frequency is. And the effect, should you choose to use it, is a very characteristic darkening and slight trashing of the most extreme highs. It's a good thing that Chris, in his writing, he's very good about dumbing things down for knuckleheads like me. Even when I can't really understand what he's describing, with his very good writing, well, you can just always tweak the knobs and see what you get. Now, in terms of acceleration, limiting, and this, my tonal balance, I usually have that sorted out. And the side high pass, I usually have that sorted out. I have these things sorted out with other tools in the kit. But sometimes I like to do it with ToVinyl4 because ToVinyl4 puts it all in one place and it just brings its own seasoning to the table. Sometimes it just really hits a spot, and this is a song where it really does that. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me pause and make sure I got everything in working order. And then I'm just going to play through this song, starting with ToVinyl4 bypassed. And then I'll engage it. And I'll switch it on and off again a few times. And then I'll start playing with... so I'll set mid and side high pass to taste. And then I'll start futzing around with GvWear. And you tell me what you think, if you'd be so kind as to leave a comment. I really like what it's doing with this song. When it works, it really, really works. So anyway, pause. I'll be right back. Okay, so we got side high pass set around 100 hertz, which is where I found that I like it. I'm going to leave the mid high pass at the default 22. Begin playback, just AB ToVinyl4 at its current setting a few times, and then I'll commence to tweaking GvWear so you can hear what that does and what it brings to the table. Listen, especially when the slide comes in. I tracked the National ResoLectric slide part tonight. I double tracked it with one instrument in through the Focusrite Scarlett and the other track through the Samson Q-Tom, which, okay, so the instrument input is for the P90, the sound of that P90 on the neck, and the Q-Tom just really brings out the slide shimmer and the string noise. Listen for that when I start playing with GvWear, and then A being the plugin after I've tweaked GvWear. It's just really something. When ToVinyl works, man, wow, it just, it's unfreaking believable what it does. Okay, enough of my yapping. Here we go.
There's blood on your hands and an unpaid debt. 600 men you tried to starve to death, placed in the way of harm in front of the army they served. Reclamation for what you took is what they deserved. Human shields you thought would make us comply. Another proof yellowback blue coats valued no one's life. In the stockade on Morris Island, under fire from our own guns, onion pickle and rotten cornmeal fed to every Fort Pulaski southern son. 600 officers hanging their clothes on what was left of them. All they had was each other to survive till the end. And you can spread all your Yankee lies at will. We all know how well blue bellies lived at Andersonville. $220 of our men were loaded on Kanakist bound for Hilton Head, where we endured torture above and beyond the Pulaski dread. But you never saw our pain. We never showed sorrow or complaint. Our fellow Confederates never forgot the memory of our fateful days. The immortal 600 continue in their courage today. In the stockade on Morris Island, under fire from our own gun. Onion, pickle, rotten cornmeal fed to every Fort Pulaski southern sun. 600 officers hanging their clothes on what was left of them. All they had was each other to survive till the end. And you can spread all your Yankee lies at will. We all know how well Blue Bellies lived at Andersonville. In the stockade on Morris Island, under fire from our own guns. Onion, pickle, rotten cornmeal fed to every Fort Pulaski southern sun. 600 officers hanging their clothes on what was left of them. All they had was each other, brothers till the end.
Yeah, quite something. I think that should come through loud and clear. Even after processing and uploading to YouTube. That's ToVinyl4. Again, I normally take care of my mid-high pass. I think, again, with mastering 2, I use acceleration. And usually I've got my mix sorted out tonally. But once in a while, ToVinyl4 just brings it all into one package. And it seems to have a synergy to it that you don't get by doing it in a more modular fashion. And when it works, it just really, really works. So thank you for watching, and I hope this video finds you well. From lowly, humble Vinyl Bear Studio here in lovely, scenic Padre City, South Korea, may the winds of clarity blow ever in your favor, and give ToVinyl4 a try. It lives in the stereo category of Airwindows Consolidated. That's it for now. May the winds of clarity blow ever in your favor, over and out.